Sound bad? Sound
Yes. I used to think that.
Said it's good, right? But yeah, I think we're up there. How much that help? See, my answer. Yeah.
Yes. That's good.
Michael, how are you? Makes sense.
That's good.
Sorry about all the interruptions on the phone call. That phone call was.
Yeah.
I was a little breaking into it, but it wasn't good. We're told that the morning, for whatever reason, because you're in Florida, I just been motorcycle. Okay.
About 5 years.
I didn't bring the same. Happy, have you been happy meeting?
Flat crack, no crack, flat crack.
Let's do that. Give me a heads up, all those stuff.
Yeah. Our Harley was had their.
Yeah.
Museums and all that stuff.
We've never done it.
It was still.
Yeah, we sold.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Hello.
Say it word. How are you?
Our research.
Hey, Dustin, you sit in until Jonathan comes. Oh, wait, he says he's walking in. Hey, sorry about that.
Back out.
Hey, Dawson, did you and Brad coordinate the outfits or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, so I checked.
That's not the word you want. That's the word I couldn't come up with.
All right, it is 5:46 on January 16th, 2024. We're gonna call this finance committee meeting to order. Present are council members Lang, Cost, Chu, Hauser, and Marmy. First item is to report that the unappropriated balance is at $786,254. And the balance of the budget stabilization fund is at $1,554,718. First item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to prepare and submit applications to the Department of Homeland Security for fiscal year 2023 Fire Act grant programs and support of training programs, equipment purchases, funding for personnel, fire prevention, and fire safety programs throughout the city.
The resolution would require a 10% match for the AFG grant, which will be the first grant. Division of Fire is working on the choices that they're going to consider for this year.
Offer motion.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Hauser. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send this on to full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to submit an application to the Ohio Department of Public Safety for an award of fiscal year 2024-2025 funding under the Ohio EMS Training and Equipment Grant Programs.
This grant provides EMS supplies and or training materials for the Division of Fire.
Motion carried.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Hauser. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send us on full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to apply for funding from the United States Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Assistance under the Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant Program.
The Bulletproof Vest program requires a payment upfront of 100%, and the city is able to get 50% back through the program. As you all know, we received the COPS award, so we will have 5 new officers coming soon, so this grant will help with those costs.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Hauser. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send this on to full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a request for disappropriation in the amount of $16,482.
Good evening.
From my understanding, there was a budget oversight with a hand and received budget. These first 3 expenses are supposed to be grant expenses, not general fund expenses, so that's why we wanted to disappropriate it.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Hauser. Any questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send this on to full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Entertain a motion for the appropriation of the $16,482.
So
Second.
Motion is by Lang, second by Hauser. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, send this on to full council, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a disappropriation amount of $30,000.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This would come from the Parks temporary services account.
And we're moving this.
Into the property maintenance. The reason for the move is for the last 4 or 5 years, the Parks Department's been moving homeless camps. We've had a concern raised by the union about union employees' safety. So we've decided to go with an outside service to clean up homeless camps, and that'll be organized through Joe Hall property maintenance. So we're just transferring the money from Parks to property.
Okay. Motion by Lang,
Second.
second by Hauser. Mr. Lang.
Yeah, Director Ritz, do we have a outside firm identified yet, or?
We do,
Okay,
we do, and bonded and sure. And they're ready to begin service.
Yes, Mr. Hauser.
Is that gonna be something we utilize it for 100% of that new activity, or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
The property, the Parks Department will still cut grass for property maintenance, you know, in yards that are high, but the concern came about safety of the employees cleaning up homescapes, whether they're properly trained and they have Narcan, police presence, things of this nature. It's a reasonable concern.
Any other questions and or discussion? Yes, ma'am. You're fine.
Okay, was there open bidding on this? For getting a group to, be involved in the cleanup?
I'll let you want.
No, it should come in under the $30,000 that we're allowed to spend on that. As a matter of fact, I don't think we'll spend the whole $30,000. And to find a group to want to do this, it's a little bit different too.
I was wondering whether that information was public.
Yeah, here's the thing, if it's under a threshold, then it does not have to go under competitive bidding. Therefore, the city can just hire, those services. If it goes above that threshold, then they would have to come, and in order to waive that, it would have to be authorized by council in order to waive that. So they are under strict guidelines that they cannot do it if it falls in that threshold. Yes, Mr. Lyon.
Director Ritz, are you prepared to name that firm on the record, just so we have that for the public, or?
No, you can call Mr. Paul, get that from him.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further questions and or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of sending this on to full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Now I'd entertain a motion to appropriate the $30,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Lang, second by Hauser. Further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor send this on to full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Newark to prepare and submit applications to the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency for the H2 Ohio Rivers Initiative Chloride Reduction Grant Program.
This is a new grant that, Division of Streets, Buster Franklin is interested in pursuing, so I'm waiting to hear back from him what he'd like to do. We have met and he's looking to partner with the county on an idea. The point, we can apply up to 75,000 for, likely will be equipment, or you can modify storage facilities to help, reduce runoff and chlorine and the icing material.
Very good.
Offer motion.
Second. Motion by Hauser, second by Lang. Questions and or discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I was wondering whether there was going to be a change in the materials being used in terms of de-icing the roads. I remember a number of years ago, Granville was offered the opportunity to use free fracking materials for that purpose. Without disclosing what the chemicals were, and I'm hoping that our city is not considering anything like that.
Well, the grant doesn't address that.
It actually is in the,
Well, no, we will probably be applying for equipment. What's in the materials now would be a question that Buster would need to address.
I think.
Yeah, this grant is only pertaining to equipment. Yes. Further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor send this on to full council signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. That motion passes 5-0. Thank you. And with that, this finance committee meeting stands adjourned. Next up is service.
So much.
Yes, I would.
Well, that chair's good.
Yeah, it's big guys overall.
All right, we'll call the service committee meeting to order. Those present, myself, Brad, Beely, Cost, Blind, and Shoot. Up first on the agenda is ordinance 24-01, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of certain real property generally described as 326 Bell Vista Avenue, City of Newark, Lincoln County, Ohio. Parcel tax ID number 054-191-040-00.000. And parcel tax ID number 0.54-191-046-00.000. From that of single family residence, RH, high density district 2, MFR, multifamily residence district, zoning code of the City of Newark, Ohio. Mr. Rhodes, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As usual, we'd ask that you pass this on, so eventually it could end up to planning commission. At that point, the engineer, myself, the mayor will all put our heads together and come up with an opinion if we think this is a good idea or not. In general, I'd make a comment, we do need more housing in Newark, but we'll take a look at where this actually sits and we'll make a decision from there.
Sounds good. Do I have a motion? Motion by Cost. Second by Blind. Any questions from the committee? Questions from the audience? Seeing none, all those in favor of passing this on to council, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That will pass with a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Appreciate it for your time. That concludes the service committee meeting.
We got one more.
Sorry, agenda, but Mr. Harris asked me to speak to something on that.
You did.
Okay, so, I had sent some information out on, some training that I'm needing 50% of council to complete. So I think Janine will be sending it out to you all, but, basically what it is as part of our lead service line funding for our drinking water system, we are getting 53% of that loan or of those loans as principal forgiveness. So it's free money. As part of that, they require 50% of council to go through, 2 trainings that are through, the Rural Community Assistance Program. And one of them it's called RCAP 101. It's utility management for governing boards, and then RCAP training 201, financial management for governing boards. Whoever Mr. Harris designates that, I think the service committee plus maybe a couple others to get 50%, to complete it. Basically, Janine has the information where you go online, you can sign up. Each of you will need to register with RCAP individually. Very easy, very quick. And then you can sign up and do the online training basically at your leisure. So that's out there. Just want to bring that to your attention. That's forthcoming, and it is something that's required for EPA for those loans that we are now receiving.
All right, is this 100% online training?
It is.
Do you have an estimated time for each course?
No, I started doing them. I haven't completed them yet. I would say less than an hour a course.
Okay,
So,
and generally that information, everything pertaining to that is gonna come to the service committee.
it can if need to be.
Does anybody have any questions for him? Anybody on the service committee have any objections to
No.
completing those courses? Neil, you okay with that?
I'm good with it now.
Okay.
Would you like me to bring it back formally to serve to committee, or do I need to do that?
No, I'm not surprised that is fine. We're gonna just get the information to Janine will forward it out to us and go from there.
Okay,
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
service will want, and then probably some people off of finance as well. We'll go from there.
awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, service committee meeting will be adjourned. Up next will be economic development.
That's what it's maybe just go down south.
He did show you up by adding time. Well, I think Brad works out. What you said, you work out. It's fancy.
I did one, we're ready to go. I seen it out there.
We're gonna bring this economic development committee meeting to order. Committee members, the president, Rouser, Lang, Buda, Neely, myself. We're gonna look at resolution number 24-07. Resolution implementing section 3735-65 through 3735-70. The Ohio Revised Code establishing and describing the boundaries of a community reinvestment area in the city of Newark, Ohio.
How are you?
Good morning, how are you? Nice to
I'm
see you.
doing well, Mr. Chair. Mr. Matter could not be here this evening. I've actually with, Mr. Roush, he's spoken with me, so Mark, instead of holding this up until he returns, and plus we have an extra week, he wanted to keep this moving forward. Community reinvestment area, we have done one out in the Cherry Valley area. We did that for that development area. This is another one. It'll help the developer as far as, being able to afford a project like this. I think you've all been forwarded the renderings and all of the information, the study that the investor, he did the study. It wasn't something that we did in the city of Newark. He purchased that and did that. The other thing about this, just to explain, this is not something that we have to get school board approval. However, being good stewards and also making sure that we keep in communication or working with the city schools. Julio has been made aware of it. He presented it to the school board, talked to them about it. This is not a project that's going to generate a lot of students into this area, so it's not going to really impact the capacity of the schools tremendously or anything. We're hoping also they're going to get a benefit with hopefully some of the revenue of income level is going to be a little bit higher as far as these residents. So they're going to benefit from the 1% income tax that could be gained by this. This only pertains to those taxes that are above the improvements, just like the TIFs. It's similar to the TIFs, although it is different as far as being a community reinvestment area. It's dedicated just to this area, and that's why it's setting the boundaries as such. Without this, it would be difficult for this project to move forward because of the increased costs and labor and other things. the individual who is putting this project forward has been good to our community. If you've noticed the laundromat up there and everything, it's very nice laundromat, very well kept, very good presentation for that area. He wants to do the same, and you saw the renderings. I mean, it's gonna be a beautiful facility. And not only is gonna have the apartments in there, but also it's gonna have a swimming pool. It's gonna have a common area or clubhouse, if you wanna call it. And then also some garages for the residents, for a certain number of garages. So it's gonna be a nice facility, and I think it's something that Newark really does need, and it would be a benefit to Newark. If you have any questions for him or for me, be happy to answer what I can or what I know. It might be one of those things where I have to ask Mark, so, but.
I'll offer a motion. I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Lang, second by Mr. Labutus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a question in regards to the dollar value of the development. Is there a thought anticipated of what the dollar value of the project roughly going to be at this time?
Approximately 26 million.
Any other questions?
I do, just a question reference. Rough beginning date, completion date, has any of that been established if we do move forward?
We cannot move forward without getting this passed, essentially. Just the finances don't make sense with the interest rates. If this gets passed, we would, look at a break ground in, beginning of April, and about 18 months to get all the buildings completed.
Thank you.
That is one of the reasons why we want to move this forward, and get it, so then he can get construction started. They started moving a little bit of dirt and kind of ran into this roadblock. So we want him to be able to complete this and get it moving, especially as soon as the weather breaks. It will be beneficial that he gets started on.
Thank you. Has there been any study or assessment done of what the total tax benefit the city won't realize by passing this? I know that the project viability is in question, but I'm just curious if there's been any sort of assessment of what the value of the CRA would be.
Well, I mean, if you just go by the 26 million, 75% of that. But we're also looking at, again, you want to look at the economic development that is going to stimulate to that area. So really, the study that he provided as far as the need and what we need in our community, something like that. The increase in revenue, as far as if we have another resident who is paying taxes into the city of Newark, those are a little bit of unknowns. But we look at it as we need additional housing in Newark. This is the type of housing that it does attract. It does not increase our city services as much because we don't have additional roads along with the 173. If we build 173 houses, all of a sudden now we have more streets to maintain and things like that. So it's one of those things that I'm just going to give a personal opinion that I believe that we need this type of development. It's pretty much structured for empty nesters, not necessarily for families. And so it's something we want to make sure we not only attract, but if folks move into this that are existing citizens, then that opens up their housing for those families. So it's one of those things that will be a cyclical thing. The flat dollar amount, I mean, yeah, it's going to increase significantly as far as the tax ticket on that. You take the 75% of that and you kind of do the math there. And it's for 15 years, it's not a 30-year like our TIFs. Our TIFs are longer. This is shorter. Not only that, it's governed. They have to set up a board. There's a lot more stipulations to it. The one out in by Cherry Valley, I mean, they have to meet. They have to make sure that it's not just him doing this. It has to be set up with a board and everything. So.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Doug, for bringing this forward. And, you know, this being right kind of in my backyard, I think it's very much in character with what we have in that area. And if you go to any of those apartment places up there, it's hard to find a spot, I can tell you that. So definitely something that we need up in that area. And got my full support, so I just wanted to echo my support.
One other thing that I'm gonna add, just because, you know, I'm old and I've been around. Before this, there were the folks that were attracted to this area were folks who wanted to develop low income housing, subsidized housing, things like that. So, the neighbors are very much in support of this project in comparison to what they thought it was. You know, the rumors were abundant as far as, oh, they're just gonna bring in low income housing that's subsidized and, you know, no one wants that in their backyard. We know we have a need for that and we will find an area for that somewhere in Newark. We need to make sure that, not only that, if it opens up additional housing for that, it could be a win-win just with this development.
Mr. Marmy, if I may,
Sure.
what I'm hearing you say is more of an upper income level development. Is there any ballpark figures on rent? What kind of area that would be? I'm not sure who to ask.
I haven't, yeah. So the one bedroom would be $1,050, one bedroom premium would be $1,185, two bedroom $1,375, and three bedroom $1,650, which is very affordable compared to going 20 miles to the west.
I would just like to offer, having looked for similar apartments in that area, that's very much in keeping with kind of the going rates around that area.
Both John and I are from the area and want to provide something nice that's not crazy, you know, up there in terms of pricing. So we know the market, we studied the market. Should be very nice housing for the price.
Chair, one follow-up thing, I agree with, multiple things that have been said with regards, I think this is great for New York, I do have to abstain.
Any other questions from the committee? Any questions from the audience?
This seems like it's very expensive for apartments in this area where a lot of people are, really can't afford $1,000 plus a month. Now, I don't see where this is addressing that at all. So I don't understand the point. We've got lots of apartments that are 1,000 and up. Why are we doing this?
Mr. Chairman. I would love to respond as somebody who has looked in apartment complexes right next door with the same rent. As soon as the place gets empty, there's a line, they have a waiting list. There is definitely a need and there's not enough of this level of housing in the area.
I would love to see us address the issue of people that cannot afford that before we do this.
My only comment would be to say that we definitely have a need for low income housing. We have a need for median income housing. We have a need for upper income housing. I mean, we're just behind the 8 ball on housing all the way across. I think the point that Mr. Marmy made, unfortunately, there's always an attitude of not in my neighborhood, but I think it's essential that we do find an area where we can build low and medium income, homes and housing apartments. There's definitely a need for it. And it needs to be addressed. Any other questions out of the audience?
I'll comment. I agree. There's a housing shortage and it's not just in Newark. It's not just in Licking County. Columbus is really struggling with housing and the numbers. The thing is that as a municipality, the city wants to attract and make sure that we have everything available. So then the private sector can come in and develop and build those. It's not the city's response. We don't build those. We don't build housing. But what we want to do is have a community in which attracts developers to do just that. So when we're friendly and being friendly with developers, if this is a successful project, who knows what this gentleman's going to do next? Or else if another development says, hey, Newark is a friendly environment, and I think I can do something to help them out. This could just be the spark that helps with the issues that she's, commenting on. But we have to rely on the private sector to want to do that in addition to supporting them to doing it. We welcome that as a city, as a municipality. We're constantly welcome to developers. If it's gonna be that low, that median, or that high income housing, we wanna make sure we're supporting it all. And we're doing it within the zoning compounds that we have established already. And we're making sure that it's conducive to where the location of where it's at, so. And I think we do a great job with that.
Any other questions or comments? Committee, audience, yes.
Just comment, I think this is a great project, I'm in full support of it, it's something that we definitely need, so.
So. Backward. Go. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Same.
Four yeas and no nays and one abstain there. Okay. We can move this on to full council. Thank you very much. We're adjourned. I'd be great fast.
Yeah, I figured, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Probably along the gas Well, step by step. Step by step. Is that way? That's what I'm used to saying.
Good job. When you're talking about Rex.
Yeah, I see a lot of. They start.
Well, try buying a house. Yeah, so I have a one bedroom with a loft to the residence. It's about,
Oh, yeah.
if I wanted to get a two bedroom, it'd be about 1,100, 1,200. Still residence. Yeah, so it's nice because it's got a.
You know, that's a great, thank you so much.